Continuation of Chapter 11. Third error, an erroneous notion of human dignity. In the third point, the Pope notes that the Sillon has a praiseworthy concern for human dignity, but, quote, it understands human dignity in the manner of some philosophers, of whom the Church does not at all feel proud. The first condition of that dignity is liberty, but viewed in the sense that, except in religious matters, each man is autonomous. This is the basic principle from which the Sillon draws further conclusions. Today, the people are in tutelage under an authority distinct from themselves. They must liberate themselves. Political emancipation. End quote. Thus, human dignity equals liberty. Liberty equals autonomy. Autonomy equals political emancipation. Afterwards, quote, they are also dependent upon employers who own the means of production, exploit, oppress, and degrade the workers. They must shake off the yoke. Economic emancipation. End quote. Political emancipation, economic emancipation, shake off the yoke of those who manage in the economic domain. It is very clear. And finally, quote, they are ruled by a caste called intelligentsia, which, by its very nature, enjoys undue preponderance in the direction of affairs. The people must break away from this domination, intellectual emancipation. End quote. Along with these three sorts of liberation, political, economic, and intellectual, the Pope has said that the Sillonists want to escape equally from ecclesiastic authority. Thus, it is also religious emancipation that is inscribed in their program. If the Sillonists do not dare to say openly and categorically that they desire religious emancipation, it is only because they do not dare go so far, for this would be open revolt against the Church, but their reasoning and their conduct lead them to it. The triple emancipations that they seek to obtain will inevitably lead them to religious emancipation. And this became apparent when they became the, quote, Great Sillon. The, quote, Great Sillon is completely emancipated from religious submission. Sillonist Democracy. Quote, a socio-political setup resting on these two pillars of liberty and equality, to which fraternity will presently be added, is what they call democracy. However, liberty and equality are, so to speak, no more than a negative side. The distinctive and positive aspect of democracy is to be found in the largest possible participation of everyone in the government of public affairs, and this, in turn, comprises a threefold aspect, viz. Political, economical, and moral. End quote. In the political order, if the Sillon does not abolish authority, it affirms nonetheless that authority resides in the people and must remain in the people, as fundamentally each citizen, as an elector, becomes a sort of head of state. Each participates in the government. Quote, taken away from a specific group, management will be so well multiplied that each worker will himself become a kind of employer. End quote. As for the moral element, quote, since, as we have seen, authority is much reduced, another force is necessary to supplement it and to provide a permanent counterweight against individual selfishness. This new principle, this force, is the love of professional interest and of public interest. That is to say, the love of the very end of the profession and of society." End quote. Sillon's ideal society: liberty, equality, fraternity. In order to attain this goal, the Sillonists dream of turning the people into perfect citizens. If all the citizens were perfect people, they would only seek the public interest and not their own personal interest. And then there would be a society which would possess more authority, and everything would be perfect. Quote, "Snatched away from the pettiness of private interests, and raised up to the interests of the profession, and, even higher, to those of the whole nation, and higher still, to those of the human race," for the Sillon's field of vision is not bound by national borders, it encompasses all men, even to the ends of the earth. "The human heart, enlarged by the love of the commonwealth, would embrace all comrades of the same profession, all compatriots, all men. Such is the ideal of human greatness and nobility, to be attained through the famous popular trilogy, liberty, equality, fraternity." To sum up, such is the theory, one could say the dream, of the Sillon, and that is what its teaching aims at, what it calls the democratic education of the people, that is, raising to its maximum the conscience and civic responsibility of every one, from which will result economic and political democracy and the reign of justice, liberty, equality, fraternity. This brief explanation, venerable brethren, will show you clearly how much reason we have to say that the Sillon opposes doctrine to doctrine, that it seeks to build its city on a theory contrary to Catholic truth, and that it falsifies the basic and essential notions which regulate social relations in human society. End quote. The Pope does not fear to say that the 3 points that he just set forth are on the whole contrary to Catholic doctrine.